What is going on, guys? Welcome to another unscripted episode with my best friend Kunal Chakara. As you can see here, we are sitting at the top of Double Peak.
It's gorgeous out here in San Marcos, California.
Enjoying nature, vibing. I know we talk a lot about hey, get out there and just enjoy what you see, enjoy what you feel in nature, and let the answers come to you. How do you feel up here, Kunal?
Oh man, I love it. I feel right at home. It's so beautiful. There's a nice breeze blowing, the sun's shining. It's a gorgeous day out here in North County, San Diego. There really is no proper way to describe the feeling of just being outside in fresh air and sunlight and nature.
When it comes to having internal struggles, let's say throughout the work week, how important would you say it is to come up to a place like this and kind of decompress and just let go a little bit?
Oh man, Cameron, I would say it's of the utmost importance. You know, if you value your state of mind and state of being, and even in terms of productivity, if you care about being very productive, having downtime to rest and just decompress and unplug, disconnect from
an evolutionary perspective. You know, a lot of people today, they're sitting inside indoor with ventilation, they don't have the window open, and from a primal evolutionary standpoint,
yeah, it's very unnatural.
What role does nature play in that?
What role does nature play in that? Well, I would say that we've removed ourselves from our natural environments, and I think that's often part of the cause of a lot of the dysfunction we see and a lot of the issues we have, metabolic disorders and diseases, and a lot of what's cropping up from stress is often pointed at as the cause. But I think we've just removed ourselves from our natural environment and enclosed ourselves in a modern environment, which frankly has a lot of disruption on our circadian biology, on our cellular health, our metabolic health. Being outside, having fresh air, getting sunlight is probably the most optimal thing you can do for your mind and body.
I'm not sure if you have an explanation for this, but if you have any comment on it. Sometimes when I feel like I have a lot of anxiety or there's a lot of problems, and I feel like I go on a walk in nature, by the time I get back, it seems like all my problems are gone.
Yeah, I mean, I find that to be true for myself also in a lot of cases. You know, I think movement itself is really good for us to move energy and just go out for a walk. You kind of shift, you shift your hormones. And there's clinical research to show also just being outside reduces your blood pressure by a statistically significant amount.
Really?
Yeah, it reduces your stress. Yeah, I think it's something like 30%. Just being outdoors at a park for 15 to 20 minutes has been shown to reduce blood pressure and markers of stress.
And how do you think sitting for long periods of time affects the body?
Well,
you might not have a specific answer, but
yeah, I mean, just riffing off of it from personal experience and from the research I have done, we're bipedal human beings. We're meant to be walking and moving and using our body. So I think sitting chronically for long periods of time leads to lower back pain. A lot of these common issues we see, tight hip flexors, tight hips, there's like a tight pelvic girdle. You're not getting a lot of motion down, from your waist down. I think it has a lot of issues. It causes can cause a lot of dysfunction physiologically.
And I tell you guys, we were just in a shopping center by a grocery store, and driving up here, I feel a complete different shift in my feelings.
Yeah, man.
It's weird. Just being up here, we have a nice view of San Diego.
Maybe you can flip the camera for them, they can see it.
All right, guys, we're just doing a quick little showcase of what we were podcasting to. Really nice views, mountain ranges. If you've got a spot like this next to where you live, or if you can drive 20-30 minutes and get to some nice area in nature, highly recommend you do so.
The whole view of the city, 360.
Honestly, it's you guys got to get out in nature. You got to just vibe out there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where the listeners are living, but I'm sure there's somewhere, even if it's a 15, 20, 30-minute drive, it's so worth it. I think this is one of the best or the best medication or medicine we can provide ourselves in a high, fast-paced society and productivity-focused life.
So, as you guys know, this episode and all episodes are unscripted. So I want to turn the spotlight on you, Kunal, and just take a moment if you need to.
Sunlight's on me.
Is there any point you'd like to present right now, or anything that kind of bubbles up just when you put your awareness and you have a platform here to share with the world?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe we can just take a moment and breathe in and see what's alive. Yeah, bro, I really just can't overemphasize having a state of gratitude and taking advantage of our natural environment, getting outside, getting sunlight and fresh air, eating healthy. And you really don't have to overstress it, just doing what you can, taking what resonates, and making these choices incrementally, and just find out for yourself how much better you feel, how the lens of your experience changes.
I like how you said the word gratitude. Let's say, hypothetically, someone didn't know what that word meant. How would you define it?
Put simply, just giving thanks, finding what you can to appreciate in your immediate environment, in your life, in yourself, and there's always something to be thankful for. You can always take a moment to pause and just say thank you. Even the words thank you, I think, really can clarify a lot for us. If we, with intention and with sincerity, we can just take a moment and say thank you. Thank you that I can say thank you. Thank you for my body. Thank you for my heartbeat.
When people are feeling stressed out, it seems gratitude is the last thing on their bucket list, because your blood pressure is high. Maybe you've got family problems, maybe you've got medical problems. How can we teach ourselves to remember, even in the toughest of times, be grateful? We're here, we're breathing, the sun is shining.
Yeah, I think the more we implement it, the more we become aware, as you're saying, and watching this video and just surrounding yourself with things that are positive, so to speak, but also be easy. Maybe when you're going through something, you don't remember to say thank you. But when that storm passes, as it inevitably will, as all storms do pass, take a moment, give thanks, say thank you. And I think as we do this more often, more frequently, it starts to become our underlying state of being, so to speak.
When it comes to, just switching the topic a little bit, when it comes to someone having a grudge, maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a friend, what does that do internally? And what message does that send externally?
Yeah, actually, when you said holding a grudge, it reminded me of something many years ago. I think it was actually around Thanksgiving. I felt inspired to post. I said, if you want to be happy, forgive yourself and forgive everyone. And do this as many times as it takes. Do this daily. Do this often. Because I think ultimately forgiveness is for us. It's for our own heart to lighten our own energetic load that we might be carrying, even unconsciously. Holding a grudge, to answer your question, I think is like having a tight contraction. There's a quote I read once. It's like, I think it's a Buddhist quote or a Zen quote. Being angry at someone else is like holding a hot coal with the intention of throwing it at them. Only you get burned because you're holding this hot coal. So all the while you're holding this grudge, you're creating this tension.
Something inside you is burning.
Right. You're holding this tension and this contraction inside.
And when it comes to like your chakras, could you say...
Chakras, okay, yeah.
Your energy could be trapped. If you don't know what chakras are, they're just
energy
centers, and the whole theory is energy is constantly moving through our bodies. So when you hold a grudge, potentially it could be getting trapped somewhere.
Absolutely, it could be blocking that energy. Maybe let's say your solar plexus, which they say is the chakra for power. I think the color is associated as orange. I could be wrong, but I think that sometimes a lot of people hold grudges in their gut area, and it could be like lower in their gut or upper in their like sternum, chest area. And yeah, holding an energetic grudge or an emotional grudge can often, you're like I was saying, contracting, and that
could have physical consequences.
Absolutely, and it blocks energy. And I think we know this now, that stress, although it seems a little bit esoteric or maybe psychological, has a lot of physiological and physical consequences.
What does that word mean, esoteric?
I don't know the dictionary definition, but the way I'm using it is outside of maybe material, tangible things, more esoteric, like outside of the physical, material, tangible reality.
That's a very interesting term.
Yeah.
I've heard you use it before.
We should double check the definition on it.
Again, guys, unscripted. I like where we're going with this, though, because I think even to have a grudge in the first place, would you say there could potentially be something before that that's even causing you to have a grudge in the first place?
Yeah, of course,
if you were in
bro.
a certain state of, let's say you were in a state of gratitude. Let's say someone is in a perfect state of gratitude. Would they even have the capacity to hold a grudge?
Yeah, likely not. I think because gratitude is really an open, spacious way of being. It's unlikely that when you're feeling, and oftentimes you feel so good from this state of gratitude, we aren't inclined to want to hold on to a grudge, because we can see so clearly at that point, like, wow, why would I trade this openness and this bliss and this happiness for such a contracted, small, limited state? Not to say it wouldn't come. I think it's natural, it's human, while we're on this planet, that we may come across these like strong, intense feelings at times. So I think just being easy, as I was saying earlier, and if it does come, just having that awareness, bringing some mindfulness to it, so to speak. And
I have heard a few stories. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm.
When people talk about the Buddha and how he was always in such this calm, relaxed state, I've come across readings and texts where they say that the Buddha was still actually feeling
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
He was still feeling sadness, he was still feeling anger.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference was how he dealt with it.
Yeah, I think that's often a misconception in spirituality, even in Advaita or non-duality, that once you've attained or come into this state of total self-realization or enlightenment, that you no longer have emotions or human feelings, which, again, I don't think is the case. Naturally, as we have this body and this vital force and breath, and we're here on this planet, things will come, emotions will come, energies will come. I think the difference is not being attached to it or identified with those passing things, knowing the ephemerality of it, which is something that the Buddha often talked about. I did a Vipassana meditation many years ago, and the core teaching of Vipassana was anicca. This too shall pass. So just knowing that any experience that arises, good or bad, is bound to change. It's inevitably going to shift in its form and move on. And this allows us, I think, to come back to this place of greater recognition, where we can see that, I can observe this changing phenomenon. Therefore, it must not be me. What I am there must be space between myself and this experience.
Wow, that's a great way to look at it. So anything that comes into our perception, if we create a kind of space between it, it might dissolve or disintegrate.
Naturally, and I don't even think we need to create the space. The space is there. It just requires that we take a moment to recognize it. That we slow down, and instead of being plugged into our thought stream, that we breathe a little bit and we just take some space and we see, just observe, just watch, and you'll see that anything that arises, whether it's a physical sensation or an emotion or a thought, it comes, it arises, it plays for some time, and inevitably has to move on and shift and change.
Love it. Guys, I think that was a really great conversation. We hope something in there stuck with you. If you have any last points to bring up.
Just give thanks, man. Blessed, really grateful that we can be here and enjoy this moment. And yeah.
Thanks for tuning in with us. Remember, get out in nature. Love yourself, love your life. We'll see you on the next one.
God bless.